and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, please. I want to welcome you once again. I had the privilege of doing that last night, the Thomas Jefferson class of 1960, and reunion. This is another reunion event today. You notice it was scheduled late in the afternoon to give everybody a little time to recuperate from last night, but now I understand everybody left about 8:30. What is Mary and Dr. Davis here? We sure enjoyed the music last night. Thank you so much. Those guys could really play, and we really enjoyed hearing Jive and Gene again, too. And teasing with him. The organizing committee is represented here today, and I want to just call their names again quickly and recognize them for the work they've done. Of course, Dr. Davis, I mentioned, Cheryl Doyle, Carol Emerson, Norma Easer, Kathy Gumberger, B.J. Harper, Tommy Hayes, Raymond Hill, Sheila Keeper, Linda McClellan, Pat Sierra, and Judy Waldo. Thank you very much for making all of this possible for us today. We're here at the Museum of the Gulf Coast, which is owned and operated by the Port Arthur Historical Society and works in partnership with the city of Port Arthur. And we have a governing board of directors that oversees the museum and the Historical Society's activities. And a couple of those board members are here today. I'll just call their names and ask to be recognized. Bob Morgan, former mayor of the city of Port Arthur. Bob. I don't see him now, but I saw him. Oh, there he is. Oh, that fellow. I didn't. You know, I was kind of blinded by that. Never mind. That glare had nothing to do with it. And the other is a new member, a longtime executive with the Port Arthur News, Ed Kessler. Ed? I want to recognize just one other person who's here today, a future member of the Sports Hall of Fame, Coach James Gamble. I need to ask now, is there another board member for the society that I may have overlooked? We've scanned the crowd pretty closely, and I think that's it. Okay, just a word, we've got refreshments here later on, and tours of the museum, self-guided tours. You're free to move around on 2 floors, first and second floor. And we'll now go on with the presentation of our induction for Hal Wiggins. And to do that is the director of the museum. Many of you people know this man. His class is celebrating, I've forgotten how many years. 15. This is 15. Oh, 50, excuse me. And by the way, they're flip-flopping with us. So you were at the Pompano tonight.
That's exactly right.
And we were there last night.
You left in good stead, so.
And they were at the museum last night.
Right.
And things look okay, so must not have been too rowdy.
Clean it up.
Anyway, class of 1971. I worked with Tom for many, many years. He was vice president at Lamar State College, Port Arthur. He's been director of the museum now 5 years, something like that. Who knows? We're not counting that closely. Here's the director, Tom Neal.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to see you this afternoon. Been a busy place this weekend. We have today the honor and privilege of being able to honor one of yours, Hal Wiggins. And of course, we're going to also honor Renee. We're so glad you partners are here today. I'm going to show you a few little videos. I said, make sure I can get this right. My hand touches things here. Every once in a while, I've got to stop that. I got new batteries, so this thing is really responding to them. I hope before you'll go through the museum. Our second floor is our pop culture. That's where Hal can be located in that area, in the Sports Hall of Fame. We have a Music Hall of Fame up there. We have notable people, Evelyn Key from Gone with the Wind, Sue Ellen. We have a Oscar up there. So we've got so many really neat things. And so I'm going to get this where we're supposed to be, right where we're going to take off here in just a moment. And now, without me looking, I think I can get this right. I got to meet Hal for the first time yesterday, but I feel like I know him from the communications we've had up to this point. And it's just really neat to welcome home somebody. I've had people that we've inducted, and it's great to be appreciated, but it's different when you're able to come home and have that moment, and we're glad you're here doing that. I'd like to start with just some photographs that I was sent, and just kind of go through a few little lines here, some things that they sent us, and then share some other things. Hal Wiggins in early years. No diaper pictures, just Hal. Renee didn't send me the diaper pictures. But Hal grew up here. That's one of the very first events. Hal right there in front with his sister Sandy. And that's one of the first events. And that was a place where he fell in love with the horse racing. And he actually worked at that area as a kid growing up. And this is one of the first races. That was his grandfather's horse. They trained that horse out in Port Arthur and Groves, out in all the lots out there to get it ready, and won a race at Del Rio. Guess what? His mother said, "You're going to college." There's Hal going into A&M his freshman year, 1960. Oh, and he graduated in 66, and guess what? Enters Renee. They have been dating for 3 weeks at the point of his graduation. But hey, 3 months and 2 days later, I believe it was, they got married. So they've been a team ever since, and that's a picture of their wedding. And then you see how he started out all around this area. That's Toomey Stark, which is now Delta Downs, and that's one of the areas where he won a race there. And so Hal has worked his way through this thing. And there's when they were living in Jasper. That's your son's with them, and they moved later on to on up the way, but they were Jasper there for a while. Then they were over in Baytown and Baton Rouge and areas out there. So and there they are, Kentucky Oaks. They just moved right on up the line there from the Sandlots and Port Arthur and Groves to the Kentucky Derby. Hal's out there right before the big race. He went out and there's all these media people, and he said, "Where y'all been all my life?" They finally took notice of Hal, and so he had a great opportunity to visit with them. And this is a young lady, Rachel. She was a Make-A-Wish person who wanted to come to that race and see that, and Hal embraced her, and she just fell in love with Rachel, Alexandra. He gave her a special little scarf that they have that they give each of the Kentucky Derby winners, and he gave that to her. And here's after the race, there's Hal holding Rachel from Make-A-Wish, and the excitement going there, and family holding that trophy. That's their son, who's also there. They had a little parade that goes with this, and so he had that was Whitney, and then there's that scarf. But Hal got another scarf because the company that made these heard he had given his away, and they said, "You're going to get another one. Don't give it away." And but they identified his horse as being the winning horse. So after horse racing, she wanted to send us so we know Hal is busy. He's working hard since retirement. So he keeps busy. I'll give you some background information on him in just a moment. But he has gone all the way through this. He worked his way. There's Rachel Alexandra, the horse that he ended up with that really changed his life and changed a lot of lives. I mean, this horse is just remarkable, as you'll see. There's a happy man right after that race. You can tell that something good has happened in his life. And so there is Hal enjoying the end of that race, and he's interviewed by these people, and they're all wanting to know what the secret is of Rachel Alexandra. And frankly, when we get through showing you all this today, you're going to wonder what it is too. You'll see it, and it's just hard to comprehend this horse that he trained. He trained many horses, but He found one that really, with his partner and owner, just landed on this thing beautifully. And that's a view of Rachel Alexandra and the rest of the horses. Imagine being the person on that first horse out there looking at Rachel Alexandra in the next lot. And so it you're going to see some interesting videos and hear some interesting things. We've compressed this down so that we give you as much information in a shorter period of time. That's his rider that actually has ridden horses for him since Louisiana, and he rode that Rachel Alexandra that day, and rode the winner of the Kentucky Derby the next day. The Preakness Trophy, the Kentucky Derby Trophy, and there's his jockey holding up that trophy at the end of that big race with Rachel Alexandra. And it's an exciting thing. If you do not understand, do not know horse racing, you're going to develop an appreciation for that through their lives, and they're doing this. And that's a good picture of Hal. Hey, Hal. Hal was born in 1942 in Port Arthur, Texas, graduated THA in 60, like you guys didn't know that. As a young teenager, he spent the summers in 58 working at that Simpson Ruidoso Lounge, and through 1957 he attended A&M, got a bachelor's degree in management in January of 60, and then he embarked on his career in horse racing. He was an accountant and taught in the school system at Jasper, and eventually got in a position where he could go on and do his work full time. He started his career in Louisiana, and the last 16 years he was based in Churchill Downs in Kentucky. He is licensed and trained in 15 states, and was leading trainer at Louisiana Downs, the Keenan Land Race Course, and the Kentucky Downs. Hal and Renee, they have two sons, Whitney and Lon. Hal amassed a record of 872 wins with $20,221,625 in earnings. Hal will be wanting to talk to you after this is over with. In his career, Hal's trained horses and captured victories in multiple stake races that included wins in 4 Grade 2 stakes, 1 Grade 3 stakes, and 1 Grade 1 event. The multiple stakes winnings, the Corwan became Hal's very first millionaire trainee as he rattled off victories in the G3 Kentucky Turf Cup at Kentucky Downs, the 3-time winner of the Louisville Handicap at Churchill Downs, the 2-time winner at the John Conley Breeders' Cup Turf at Sam Houston Race Park, and a 6th place finish in the 201 Breeders' Cup at Turf in the Belmont Park. Corwin retired at $1,161,795 for career earnings. I bet that was great when you hit the first million winner. All you can worry about is all those horses you've been working on the Groves and Port Arthur, and you say, how did I get to this place? And you told Renee first, I'm sure. You said, honey, it's paying off. Other horses trained by Hal included multiple stakes winnings of Morris Code, who won $745,000, Jake the Flake, $553,000, Leo's Gypsy Dancer, $457,000, Red Mountain, $421,000, Rapid Proof, $506,000, Swing It, $345,000. After retiring in the fall of 2009, Hal served as a steward at Fairgrounds Racecourse during their 2014, 15, 15, 16 race meets. He received the designation of accredited steward in February 2015. He also served as a race integrity officer at Oakland Park from 2018 and 2019. Just shows you the regard that the industry has for Hal outside of his career, and after that, to entrust in him the integrity of the whole sport to someone who is going to be a good caretaker of that. He serves the Association Steward at Kentucky Downs from 2019 to 21, and in Oakland Park there in Hot Springs 2021. In 2009, the Kentucky Thoroughbred Owners Association presented Hal with the Warner L. Jones Jr. Horseman of the Year Award. He was also presented in 2010 the Dean Eagle Memorial Award for outstanding contributions to the thoroughbred industry by the Bishop Spalding Council of the British Knights of Columbus. Also in 2017, the Thoroughbred Charities of America honored him as the Award of Merit recipient of Texas. In 2020, Hal was inducted into the Texas Horse Racing Hall of Fame, and in 2021, he was inducted, or is being inducted, into the Museum of the Gulf Coast Sports Hall of Fame. He's a lifetime member of the Texas Thoroughbred Association. He served on the board of directors in 2010 to 2017. He served as president as well. He's also served as president of the Paddock Foundation in 2013 and 17. And this foundation is a nonprofit corporation supporting the care of thoroughbred race horses after their racing careers and by supporting rescue, retirement, rehabilitation, and retraining for those horses. Hal's always considered the horse to be the most important thing in this entire industry. And you appreciate somebody with that perspective and while having all the successes that he has had. He served on the board of directors of the Ruidoso Jockey Club. He's the regional director of Racetrack Chaplaincy of America since 2019. And he served on the Peter Peterson Award Nominating Committee and the Godolphin Thoroughbred Industry Employees Award. He spent 30 years in this business, more than 30 years. He had his most lucrative year in 1998. He had 57 first place finishes, 48 seconds, 47 thirds, and during that year he won $1.9 million. Hal is known for training the filly, the 2009 Horse of the Year, Rachel Alexandra, who won the 2009 Kentucky Oaks. The Hot Springs Oakland 2009, the Martha Washington, and the Fantasy Stakes, all that happened under his care. Rachel Alexandra, you'll see her in these features here. He had the privilege of training her from her 2-year-old through the winning of the 2009 Kentucky Oaks. Rachel was awarded the champion 3-year-old filly and the Horse of the Year in 2009, and she's also been inducted into the National Museum of Racing Hall of Fame. So, hey folks, we got a great day. Hal's brought us some interesting material to talk about today. So I'm gonna turn this over and let this thing roll, and we'll see what comes out of this next. I can back up one place here and then go back in, and there we go. We'll let this run just a minute, okay? No. Technology. Enjoy. This was the Preakness after the Oakland break, and she beat a male horse, the winner of the Kentucky Derby. She beat that horse in this race.
Ready for the start. And they're off in the Preakness. Big Drama. It's off to a good start. Musket Man is there too. Here's Rachel Alexandra on the far outside. Pioneer of the Nile. And Freezing Fire has some early speed too. So they pass by for the first time. And Velasquez is taking Big Drama well out to the track. Farthest out though, it is Rachel Alexandra. Taking a bit wide, moving into that first turn here. Freezing Fire is third. Pioneer of the Nile is fourth. Take the point. Is fifth on the outside as the filly gets pulled by. Then Papa Thumb was down 6 toward the red. General Quarters is 7th and Musket Man is 8th. And then it's toned it down as winning 9th on the outside. A break of 5 back to Wayne Lucas's 2 runners. Flying Private and Love Go. And they're followed by Terrain and Mind That Bird. The Derby winner, where he was in the Derby at this point, he is last. Now about 12 lengths from the lead. Strong enough is the pace for him to run into. It was a 46 and 3/2 mile. The filly's in front. She's in front early on here. Rachel Alexandra narrowly. Big Drama still going to stay right with her all the way. Freezing Fire looms back in third position. Half mile to go on the Preakness. On the inside, Papa Clem runs along in fourth. Far outside, Pioneer of the Nile. Now running in fifth. From the back, the pack, Mind That Bird. 13th, 12th, 11th, and he's 10th now. And there's 3 furlongs to go. Mind That Bird beginning to roll. Around the far turn here at Pimlico. Rachel Alexandra, the leader by 2 as the field turns for home. Big Drama running in second now. Mind That Bird looks for a way through, and he had to go way outside for it. Musket Man toward the inside. Rachel Alexandra's in front. Rachel Alexandra, the first filly to win the Preakness Stakes in 85 years and only the 5th overall. And she did it by holding off the on-charging Kentucky Derby winner, Mind That
In the sport of kings, sometimes it is a gentleman who stands taller than royalty. This was Hal Wiggins' way of life. He was what he was raised to be, the son of a gentleman Texas trainer who made a living at small Midwest tracks. He was taught at an early age that above all else, you always do what is right for the horse. It was with simple modesty that Hal knew he was destined to follow in his father's footsteps and work with horses. Hal wanted to make a difference. He wanted to be happy. His friends were his clients, and their horses were his friends. For 3 decades, Hal was happy living as a gentleman trainer. Though fate had denied him the horse which would make him a household name, Hal was content with the status of journeyman trainer. But he dreamed, like all trainers dream, of that one horse who would change his life. And then she arrived.
And it is Rachel Alexandra. How impressive!
Rachel Alexandra, one of the greatest fillies ever to race at Oakland, is giving us a spectacular performance.
It's taken me 30 years to get a good horse, and I'll probably be 95 when that second one comes around. So we'll see.
She was named Rachel Alexandra after the granddaughter of one of her owners and breeder, one of Hal's longtime clients. She had a distinctive beauty. She would be the one destined to change lives. With the body of an athlete and the heart of a champion. Rachel, the horse he had dreamed of, was making Hal's dreams come true.
She's as big as a colt, she's as fast as a colt, and if you ask a lot of people around Louisville, Kentucky, and around the country, a lot of them would say that she would beat the Colts. Rachel Alexandra, the headliner for this year's Kentucky Oaks here in Louisville, Kentucky at Churchill Downs. And welcome to a live edition of Across the Board from Louisville. We have the pleasure of being joined by Hal Wiggins, Rachel Alexandra's trainer, and my co-host Lafitte Pinkai III. Hal, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
Churchill Downs will be the battleground of the 2009 Kentucky Oaks, and of course it's all about Rachel Alexandra. We know she loves the dirt here in Louisville, Kentucky, and she will be the heavy favorite come this Friday here in Louisville. Welcome back to Across the Board from Louisville, Kentucky. Lafitte Pinkai with me, and Hal Wiggins continues to join us here on set. And Hal, you're a third-generation horseman. Late in your career, you come across an amazing filly like Rachel, but you've been in this game for quite some time.
I have. I got out of school in '66, and Renee and I got married that year, and I had a degree in business administration, and I worked several jobs with school districts and cities, and but then I just started training on the side, and one thing led to the other, and we made the move to Louisville in '93, and it's been very good to us. It really has. I told somebody this morning that it's taken me 30 years to get a good horse, and I'll probably be 95 when that second one comes around, so we'll see.
You're born in Port Arthur, Texas. This is a family affair in terms of your family and racing, but your grandfather, your father, match races at bush tracks throughout Texas and Louisiana?
That's correct. I can remember being 5 or 6 years old, running around those bush tracks barefoot in blue jeans, and you know, and back then, of course, if you've seen some of those old pictures, there was rails between the horses,
right?
And when they ran 200 or 300 yards, they just opened into a pasture. And those boys that rode were 5 or 6 years old, like T. Red Bernice and Randy Romero, and
another boy there in California. But anyway, that's right. I've been in it that long. Sure have.
Being around stuff like that, how it builds character, doesn't it?
Well, I guess it does. I don't know if I've got character or not, but it makes you really appreciate, after going through something like that, appreciate where I am here today with Rachel.
Yeah, but you're here at the racetrack, and you're a trainer, but it says here you graduated from Texas A&M with a degree in accounting?
A business. I got a management degree in business administration.
Your phone's still ringing when tax season comes around?
No, it's really not. It's really not. But and to be honest with you, I really had a good job when I decided to quit. I was training on the side. I'd haul horses to Delta Downs and Evangeline Downs. I was training in East Texas, working in East Texas, and had 2 young boys, and I just decided to give it a try. And we did, and we just never looked back. And I was very blessed to have a good wife. My boys had a good mother, took care of them because I was gone a lot, and I missed a lot of their activities, but she was right there with them all the time, so that meant a lot.
Got news for you, Hal. You got a better job now.
Thank you. Say, I do.
You truly do. She's owned by Mr. Morrison and also bred by Mr. Morrison. How exciting has this run been for him?
Well, it's been very exciting for him. I've trained for Miss Morrison for about 30 years, and it's very gratifying to me to see him have a filly like this. Being he bred her, we trained the mother for him. She ran second in the Golden Rod, won the Tiffany last at the fairgrounds, and so when you have the back family in these horses, it means a whole lot, and I know it means a lot to him to have bred this filly and to own her also.
She broke her maiden last June at Churchill Downs. How early did you know you had something special in Rachel Alexandra?
I knew she was a fast horse, Lafitte, but I didn't know she was as good as what she's turned out. Even after she set the stake record in the Golden Rod here in late November, I'll be honest with you, I still didn't know. But when she won the Martha Washington at Oaklawn, it was a big question in my mind whether she was fit enough. She'd been off for 2.5 months, and I thought we had her fit, but when you run a mile the first time, you really don't know. And the way she ran that race and broke the stake record by like 2 seconds, I think, and after that, I knew we had something very special.
This isn't the first time that you and Mr. Morrison have had a nice horse. Back in '93, you guys teamed up with Morris Code, so this is not uncharted territory.
That's correct, and Morris Code we bought that filly actually at the Keeneland sale. I think we paid $23,000 for her. She won a little over $700,000, and he sold her for like $550 at the sale. And he also had the filly U. He bred U, and we had her here, and he sold her to Gann, and Frankel went on and had a great career with her.
At the age of 14, you're involved in horse racing. Typically, people who get involved at that point, they stay in it. How come you went away from it for that bit of time?
Well, my mother just insisted that I get a college degree. And most of the time, mothers are right. And I think she was right in this instance because, it helps you overall and things and your knowledge. And also, it helped me quite a bit. And I think it's helped me deal with people, different owners and all in the business. So that's really why I got out of it. And when I got out, I had other jobs before I started training.
Mothers hate horse racing. I don't know why. Every mother of every jockey of every trainer grew up saying, we don't want you being a jockey and a trainer. We'll get to the pressure of training Rachel Alexandra for the Oaks a little bit later on, but there's no pressure like training for the Purse Strings Farm. Training for 17 women and Leo's Gypsy Dancer. That's right. Pressure.
That's right. You know what? We had 10 ladies that put up $3,000 and each, and they told me to go find them a horse. So Fancy Tipton had a 2-year-old training sale at that time. I went over there and looked. This filly went 8th and like 11 something. So you know how they fast. But we kind of liked the way she did it, and she was very well balanced, a little on the small side. So we bought her for $20,000. And those ladies were so excited that they didn't have to put up any more money. They had $10,000 left. And her second and third out, she won the Ellis Park debutante, $100,000. And it was just a lot of fun. 1 or 2 of them sold shares to their cousins and their nieces, so it got to be 17. And Dr. Harthill told a real funny story in the kitchen one day. I wasn't there. He told some friends of mine, he knew they were friends, and he said, Hal's the only trainer that I know they can satisfy 17 women in about a minute and 30 seconds. We had a lot of fun with it. It was a lot of fun. The ladies were great. We ran the filly at Delaware Park in Chicago, Hot Springs, New Orleans, and they were all there every time we ran. So it was a lot of fun. Of course, she won races, and that makes it fun.
With the trainer who's going to have Rachel Alexandra, Hal, what an amazing filly. She has done everything you've asked of her.
She really has, Lafitte. She gallops like we wanted to. She breezes, of course, naturally runs like we wanted to. So she came out of the work a couple of days ago in really, really good shape. So I think we're ready.
Let's take a look at that work, Hal. 46 and change without even being asked. Have you ever seen anything like this in your life?
Well, I haven't. And of course, maybe some of these big time trainers have, but this is the first time I've ever seen it. And you can see Calvin just sitting there. He's not asking her to run. And when he gets off of her, he knows that I always think it's too fast. And he tells me that she just does it easy, and I'm just sitting on it, and I'm not asking her. So I guess that's okay, but I still think it's too fast.
You wanted her to go in 48, and Calvin's response was what?
Well, he just kind of looked at me and halfway grinned and giggled at it. You know I can't get her to go in 48. So, but anyway, and I think he lets her gallop out a little too fast too. I wanted her to gallop out, but for my taking, it's just a little bit too quick.
Scott, it has to be like driving a Porsche, though. You want to feel what that fifth and sixth gear feels like.
Well, he's felt it before. He needs to save it for the races now.
Just whistle Dixie was ready to go, and they are off in the Kentucky Oaks. And going right to the lead, it's going to be Gabby's Golden Girl. Gabby's Golden Girl takes the early lead. Rachel Alexandra, though, comes right out, right alongside her second as they move by us for the first time. And then it's Be Fair's down on the rail running in third, Flying Spurs alongside her in fourth. Tweeter in behind those two in fifth position. And then Stone Legacy is sixth, and Nan is the last of seven. Around the clubhouse turn here at Churchill Downs, and Gabby's Golden Gal is the leader. Heavily favored Rachel Alexander, a cool and calculated second. Got an opening quarter of 23 and 3/5 seconds. Be Fair third on the inside. Flying Spur, Garrett Gomez says go with her early on. She's up to be third now on the outside of Be Fair. A break of three, back to stablemates Tweeter and Stone Legacy. Nan trails the field. It's still Gabby's Golden Gal, the leader. Still glued to her flank is Rachel Alexandra. Through a half mile in 47 and 2/5 seconds. Pace has been reasonable. There's a half mile to go. Calvin Morrell still sitting killing on Rachel Alexander. Still off the flank of front running Gabby's Golden Gal. And now he makes a move. Just a little nudge. A little nudge, and they're head to head for the lead now. And now the tempo's starting to quicken as they move toward the top of the stretch. Here's Rachel Alexandra, who takes the lead. Rachel Alexandra takes the lead just outside the quarter pole. She did it willingly and really had no resistance whatsoever from Gabby's Golden Gal. And now Rachel Alexandra's opening up. 5 lengths on the field. 6. Oh, a tour de force by the super filly, Rachel Alexander. Campbell Morales is moving a muscle on her. She's going to destroy this field. Oh, super filly, you bet. What's the final margin? She might have won by 20. Rachel Alexander is absolutely spectacular. In 1 minute 48 seconds. Stone Legacy was well beaten in second, and finishing third there was Flying Spur. Unbelievable.
Never a doubt, the only muscle that Calvin Morrell moved were his neck muscles, looking around to see if anybody was even close, and that started at the quarter pole.
And Hal Wiggins worried that he worked too fast the other morning. That's how hard he was pulling on her the other morning when she had her workout. Final time of the race, 1:48 and 4. That is flying racehorse time. I don't care if they're male or female.
Almost a state's record. There is the Hal Wiggins, the trainer of Rachel Alexandra. Donna is with Calvin Burrell.
Calvin, all I can say is wow. Tell me about it.
She's unbelievable. She's one of the best fillies I've ever been on in my life. I just want to thank all of the trainers for the opportunity to ride a horse like this, because I've been in the business for 30 years and I've never been on one like this.
Horses like this don't come very easy.
Well, ma'am, they don't.
How do you think she would have fared against the boys in tomorrow's race?
I tell you the truth. I'm happy they didn't run her, but I don't think they could have run with her. You know?
Do you know how far you won by? I think Tom Durkin called you in front by 20.
I just let her gallop, baby. She was good on her own, and you know, she's the greatest horse I've ever been on in my life. She does what I want her to do, and I never asked her yet, so I don't know how good she is.
We know she's pretty good. Congratulations, Cal.
Thank you very much.
And Tom, as you might expect, another emotional victory for Calvin Burrell.
Yeah, genuine emotion from Calvin Burrell aboard Rachel Alexandra. And a happy Hal Wiggins is with Kenny Rice.
All right, thanks, Tom. Hal, you're waiting for her to come back and receive more glory. What about that effort?
Well, just tremendous, more than what I thought I had, to tell you the truth.
And as you saw her pull away and dominate, and maybe the greatest performance in about 10 years since Silver Bullet Day, did you think, you know, maybe I should have waited one more day to take on those boys?
No, I was so happy for the day, I never entered my mind. It might later, not then.
Did you think it'd be this easy?
No, I did not, I sure, and I'm so sorry for the people, the connection was just Whistle Dixie. They were here for the moment, and it was the last moment there, and my heart's out to them, it really is.
They scratched, you went on and you went big, and you just relax now and see what happens.
I hope so. Thank you very much.
All right, a huge day for him, Tom. He said this is the biggest race of his career, and wow, did she ever perform for him?
I'll say Rachel Alexandra, owned by the L&M partners, Dolphus Morrison and Michael Lawford. 3-year-old filly by Medallia d'Oro out of Lottakim by Roar, bred in Kentucky by one of her owners, Dolphus Morrison.
Here's the 4-horse, Gabby's Golden Girl right next to her, Rachel Alexandra. Watch the stride difference when they come down about 50 yards away from there. Calvin Burrell, very confident. He lets Victor Espinoza and Gabby's Golden Gal go straight to the lead. But look at the length of stride you see here and the length of stride you see here. Totally different. It's like 2-to-1 stride. Calvin Burrell knows the race is over at this point pretty much. Headed into the backstretch. Calvin Burrell, once again, all he has in front of him is a target. He knows it's a target. You see the rhythm of Victor Espinoza's arms pick up here dramatically. As Calvin Burrell, look at his arms, motionless. As he continues, he takes a little peek back there. He's a long ways from home, Bob.
There's the quarter pole, and he's just looking around already because he knows he is well in hand and nothing is running at him. He's put away the only challenge from Gabby's Golden Gal easily. Nothing's running late. And Hal Wiggins. Wow. Rachel Alexandra has won the Kentucky Oaks by over 20 lengths, paying $260, $220, and $210. That looks generous considering how easily she won. Stone Legacy was second. Flying Spur was third. That Exacta paid $45.20, and you saw the other payouts as well. Here's the complete order of finish. Rachel Alexandra winning officially by 20.
That gives you a new appreciation for horse racing. Hal, thank you for bringing that to us. It's exciting to see something like this. I've seen this many times editing it, and it's just amazing. Before we go to the end of this, I put a little nugget on here for the end because this is the class of 60, and they're here supporting you. And so this little last piece is for them, and then after that, we have a few more remarks we want to make, okay? Another memory or two, okay. I'd like to call Dr. Sam Monroe, the president of the Historical Society, forward at this time, and I'll let him take it from there.
Thank you very much, Tom, and what a beautiful presentation on our inductees' career, filled with a lot of action and emotion for all of us, really. I want to just mention a word about the criteria that the board of directors uses in making this selection. First, this person has to have roots in this area, having been raised here. They need to have a career that has national impact, a body of work, and the person has to have general public recognition of their accomplishments and their career. And Hal qualifies in all respects. The information was provided to us by Pat Sierra and Kathy Gumberger. They recommended, nominated you, and then it was sent to Tom Neal, who's director of the museum, and by our policy, he reviewed it. I did the research on it and made the recommendation to the board of directors that you be included in the permanent exhibit of the Sports Hall of Fame of the Museum of the Gulf Coast. So that's the process that we underwent in this. Incidentally, the vote was unanimous. In your business, not everything is unanimous, I would feel. We have a certificate we want to present that I'd like to just read quickly. The Museum of the Gulf Coast, Port Arthur, Texas. Hal Wiggins is hereby included in the Sports Hall of Fame in recognition of personal contributions to the sports heritage of the Gulf Coast region, the United States, and the world. October 16th, 2021. Neil and I have had the privilege of signing this. We hope it finds a place with your mementos. Will you come forward now? We'd like to hear your remarks.
I want to thank the director and the board of directors and Sam. This is quite an honor for me. When I was a young teenager, a very wise elderly gentleman told me something I never forgot, and it's come true. He said, the most important the most valuable asset you'll have all through your life is friends. And I have certainly found that to be true. And I've got a 2-hour speech planned, but before I started, I want to recognize 2 ladies. We knew them in high school as Patsy McBride and Kathy Healy. And these 2 ladies produced a book of statistics and information about my career. Most of it was true. And presented it to Tom. And I can just see Tom seeing these 2 ladies come in the door of the museum, and he's rolling his eyes. He says, here comes the 2 TJ ladies again. What he found out was that the word no was not in their vocabulary. And that's friends. That's friends for you. And I certainly appreciate that. It's been quite an honor. And if you will allow me, I've got some family here tonight. I'd like to introduce them to you. If you don't allow me, I'm going to do it anyway. My oldest son, Whitney, is in Houston, couldn't be here, but his lovely wife and our grandson, Elisa and Walker, are here from Houston. Elisa's parents were TJ graduates of 64, David and Candy Bonham. They're here today, and they're good friends, Brent and Ann Hamilton Mosley was here. Ann is also a graduate of 64, and I'm just glad to have them here. Growing up, I had a tag-along, nagging little sister. She's here from Connecticut, Sandy. Glad to have her. She and I were truly blessed to have hardworking, loving, and caring parents. And I've got a cousin here from Baton Rouge. He reminded me about 14 times that LSU was playing at home today. So he would come to the museum anyway. My cousin Lee was a class of 58 from TJ, served in the Marines. And it reminded me of a story that I saw about Ted Williams. Ted Williams was a slugging home run hitter, played 19 seasons with the Boston Red Sox. His career was interrupted twice. Once he served over 2 years in the Marine Corps in World War II. And later on in the 50s, he served as a Marine Command aviator in the Korean War. And with those 19 seasons with the Boston Red Sox, he played in 19 All-Star games, hit 521 home runs, had a lifetime batting average of .344, and was twice the American League Most Valuable Player. When he announced his retirement, they asked him, they said, "You've played on 19 outstanding Red Sox teams. Which team was the greatest you played on?" He said, "The greatest team I ever played on was the United States Marine Corps." At this time, I would like everyone or anyone here that served in the U.S. Armed Forces to please stand up to be recognized. Thank you. Thank you very much for your service. Thank you. We really appreciate it. In training horses, you've got to have a good spouse that puts up with everything. And I did. Renee put up with me for 55 years. Regrettably, when you train a string of 25 to 30 horses, it kept me away from home just way too much. And our boys had a mother that never missed a ball game, never missed a track meet, was right there taking them to all their activities, make sure that they did their studies, and they were just very blessed to have a mother like that. And she and I met when I was in my last semester at A&M. She tells me that we had our first date on January the 7th. Now, how and why a woman would remember if you would have asked me, I'd have said, well, the last of December, 1st of January, sometime in that. 2 weeks later, she came to my graduation at A&M, and 5 weeks after we had our first date, I left and went to Hilton, Oklahoma. I was hired out of school by Magnolia Pipeline, the pipeline division of Mobile Oil, and so 5 weeks after we had our first date, I went to Hilton. She was still in Houston. She was 19 years old, working in a bank downtown Houston, didn't have a car, skinny, had dark brown hair. And but anyway, and we got married April the 9th. So from January the 7th, I was gone 5 weeks at that time, so you don't think she was a fast worker. But anyway, it's been great. She's been wonderful. And you know, growing up, I had a lot of memories of Port Arthur, and the good memories. And I was talking to Montiel last night, and I guess some of my favorite memories are the outstanding, dedicated school teachers that we had, and we really did. I spent second grade, I was at D. Queen School, and I went to Terrell starting in the 3rd grade. And there's a good number of people here that was in my class in the 3rd grade, and went right on through. And one story about a teacher. Renee and I moved here in '09 when I retired from training, lived here 7 or 8 years before we moved back to Kentucky. And one day, Gene Caldwell called me. Our 5th grade teacher was Miss Pruder. And Gene called me and he said, hey, I saw when Miss Pruder passed away and they're having her services at a little church in Orange, Texas. So he said, let's go to it. And so Renee and I met Charles Dotlow at Gene and Cindy's farm in Buna, and we went to Miss Pruder's services. And after the services, we talked to her daughter, and she was so impressed that someone our age, and it was in her 5th grade class, had come to the building. But that's how much the teachers impressed us about it and all. And let's see. I learned horses and training horses at a very early age. I was riding horses 7, 8 years old. Went to the match races with my dad, my grandpa. During the summer, after my sophomore year in high school, I hitched a ride to Ruidoso, New Mexico. I worked for the leading trainer there. He was friends of the family. And they had a little trailer. When you go in the stable gate, before you got to the barns, they had a little area where jockeys and trainers had their little small trailers. And he and his wife, they didn't have room for me, but they made room. And, you know, being a 15-year-old kid, I could walk out that trailer and walk to the barn. And I was just doing something that was a dream. I mean, it was just, I was just eat up with it, with the racetrack life. And once I started training full time and all, I tell people, I said, you know, for 30 years, my alarm, 6 and 7 days a week, my alarm went off at 4. I left the house at 4:30 so I could be at the track at 5. And not one time did I think I was going to work or going to a job. And that's living a dream. It really is. I was just truly blessed. And on different occasions, I have a chance to give advice to young people in their careers, no matter what it is, music, art, horse training, or whatever. And I try to tell them, if you've got that dream or if you've got a passion, go after it. Don't get to be my age and regret that you didn't do anything. And my favorite story to them along those lines was this grandmother with her little granddaughter, and she's teaching her to jump over something, take a couple of steps and jump over something a little higher. And the granddaughter looks at her and says, but Grandma, what if I fall? She says, oh, my darling, what if you fly? Anyway, Tom, thank you and Sam and the board of directors. This is for this tremendous honor, and thank all of you for being here, and God bless you.
Hal has given us something that we'll put in his area for when we get our sports area completed. And would you like to unveil this, and you can tell us a little bit what it is?
This is a trophy won by Rachel's mother at the fairgrounds in New Orleans. It was the Tiffany Last Stakes, and they presented this trophy to the trainer in memory of the trainer Angel Barrera. So it was quite an honor to get this, and I talked to Tom about it, so it's going to be here at the museum. That's what it is.
Thank you. Now, if you mark your calendars, those of you in the area, we're going to have an opening of the Woodstock message here. You see the beginning pieces of it in this area. We're reopening our music area. We've just redesigned that. We're headed toward the sports area to redesign that. And we're going to have another artifact. Besides how we have another artifact, we're going to be adding this Coach Gamble on October the 30th. We'll have his induction coming up here. So at 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, put that on your calendar. I know you will be able to join Coach and celebrate that with him on October 30th. Thank you very much for being here.